Hi, and welcome to 310 Ministries. My name is Mitch, and this is my wife, Casey.
Hello, and thank you for joining us today.
We would like to start off with telling you about our ministry and a little bit of our past. The way this came about is we started with a financial journey. This series will be about budgeting and how to overcome finances and to be able to be a blessing to your lives and to the lives of those that you would know. We'd like to start off with our testimony and explain how we came about. In the past years, I had come up with about $30,000 in debt. I had gotten married when I was 20 years old to my first wife, and she and I incurred some debt, was long and with credit cards. Like anybody who gets first credit card about 18, 20 years old, I always said I would use it for emergencies only. The emergency this time was pizza. I was hungry. What do you say? You gotta do it sometimes, right? So that first charge went fine and didn't think anything of it. But then I moved away. When I moved away, I started to charge things that had no use. And I would buy a lot of video equipment and video games and car audio stereos and things like that. And I charged so much that it ran up a $3,000 bill. And at that time, I had no idea what to do with it, so I didn't pay it. I let it go and just let it roll on. Ended up buying some rings for my wife at the time with the K's Jewelers card, and did some other stuff with JCPenney's and Visa, and just charged these cards up, and went to school, decided that wasn't what I wanted to do, and that caused more debt. Years went by and went through a divorce and took on the debt of that. A few years later, got married again and started over. Let all that credit just roll, charging more and more, picking up little bills like TV and cell phones and just letting them roll. And never paid. Always thought there's no way I'll get out of it, never tried. Never worked on it, never made an attempt even. After getting married to my second wife, I had a child and incurred that debt, and things went south there as well. Not living right for Christ and not doing what I was supposed to do, I let this money roll and ended up in more debt. Picked up a car, nice car, loved the thing. It was a little Chevrolet deal, and sporty, loved it, and it got repossessed. And I let that one roll. Years went by, and this was about 10 years in the making. When I hit 30, I decided I didn't need to do this anymore, and that's about when I met Casey. Casey and I started dating, and we decided that it was right for us to pay off our debt. And I spoke to her right off the bat of telling her this is where I am financially. And I was very honest with her. And with her kind heart, we decided to seek out someone about our finances. And we heard about this thing called the Miracle Box. The Miracle Box is really what this is going to be about. It's going to be teaching you guys how to do an envelope budgeting system with a great biblical base. The biblical base is going to go from how to set up the envelopes and pray over each envelope with scripture, and be able to have a box that you and your spouse, or if you're not married, you by yourself can create. That you'll be able to take care of your debt, pay it off, and be able to finance not only yourselves for eternity, of going into eternity, I should say, but to be able to finance the kingdom. Here at 310 Ministries, we're a Christian-based, biblical-based financial setting. We bring ourselves to Christ with this, with starting foremost the tithe. The tithe is always going to be the base, and it's really what set off our financial journey for us. Being able to pay that 10% off our gross. And we can go into that later, but when you pay your 10%, you're rebuking the devourer. You're setting forth the windows of heaven to be opened upon you and bringing a blessing. Now, that blessing doesn't always come in just extra things that come into your life, but it's learning how to be diligent with what you have. When we got married, I was about 30 years old. Me and Casey set up this with some friends of ours and learned how to do it. And we were able to pay $30,000 off within a year and a half, with only $40,000 a year income. You know, I wonder how. How did that happen? Well, again, the first part is the tithe. The tithe blesses you. It blesses what you have. God says in His Word that the tithe would bless what you have and not curse you. Without paying that tithe, you are cursed. Your finances are cursed. Now, God doesn't curse you. That's not the way this works. But He says that your finances are cursed. And I'd rather have 90% of my money blessed than 100% of it cursed. God's way of working through finances is amazing, and it's spoken a lot throughout Scripture. The more I've done this, the more I've realized what the Scripture says about finances. In our lives, it's been a blessing to sit down and pray over each envelope and to find out what God has for us. And miracles happen. Remember that one time we had the jar that would just come up with money? We had a little jar and we'd put just $10 in it and try to save up a little bit, 20 here and there. And there wouldn't be much in it. And all of a sudden we'd pull it out one week and there'd be $50 in there. A dollar bill, $50 bill. We didn't put it in there. We don't know how it got there. And just God was faithful with what we did.
Yes, He is.
With God's faithfulness, our life changed. We were able to move from a small house where we were paying $300 a month for a family of 4 to live in, where our girls were in one bedroom crammed. We got married and we have 2 wonderful girls. We actually have a boy now too as well. But our girls did not like each other at first, and we knew that we needed to get in a bigger place. After starting this, we got about halfway through and we realized we were able to afford a little bit more, and we moved. Through that time, paying off this debt, there was a lot of hard times. There was a lot of times where we wondered, what do we do? How do we make it through? I had gotten laid off at one point during this time and didn't know how we were going to make our debt happen. We do an envelope budgeting system, and there wasn't enough sometimes. Other times there was more than enough. Sometimes it was just enough. It's a matter of learning to be diligent with what you have, but learning to trust God in what you have. As we did this, we learned that through our finances, we could overcome. We could be able to be a blessing to others. It was good for us, and we want to share it with you.